I'm gonna need your help. I gotta go under this. What I need you to do is get my camera pointed the right way. I can't see it. I can't do that.
Okay.
So I need you to do it. You're already live. I just need it pointed the right way for me. Alright. Because we need to be able to see me in this. What?
We need more light.
Okay, so that's the kitchen light. I gotta get it. I've only done one live stream and I was sitting in my chair, so I don't know how it looks in here.
Look at me.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're
Look
okay.
good?
Yeah, smile.
Okay.
Try to smile. Presents. Smile.
I'm trying to do my stuff.
I didn't know we were that low.
Is anybody on? Is anybody on? Anybody talking in the chat screen? No? Alright, well, we're doing it live regardless. I need to grab a couple more things. Oh, I'll go.
Tactical Homesteader is on.
Okay.
Want me to say hi?
Sure.
I don't.
I can hear you too. It has a microphone.
Oh. Hi.
But you're basically gonna, if they got anything to say, you're gonna have to tell me what they say while I'm doing this. That's pretty much what I need you to do.
We are getting ready to cook some
On my
steak.
orange gloves, right there. You know when Matt left them? Put his word in. Yeah, I need some gloves. Sounds probably a little better now. The first thing you want to do when you're cooking steaks is let them sit out so they come up to room temperature. And so I've got these ribeyes here up to room temperature. And then you want to salt and pepper.
Your pan looks a little hot.
Pan is perfect.
Smoking.
Yeah, it's going to do that. It's not super high or anything. And then this salt here is from, what's his name, Parakeeto Salt or something like that. I can't remember.
Parakeeto Salt?
Yeah, the saltery guy up in Ohio.
He's awesome.
He sent us a care package. And this is the bourbon oak smoked salt, which I'm going straight out of the container. I'm not grinding it down or anything. And you flip them all over. And salt and pepper the other side too. And then kind of make sure your oil covers the whole pan before you put your meat on it. You're going to lay the meat on. And just let it sit. Let it sizzle and do its thing. Is you want to leave it alone so you get the Maillard process going, which is the browning of the meat, because that's caramelizing all the sugars and stuff in the meat. It really brings out all the flavor. So I can do these two. And then I like to cook, when I'm doing mine in my cast iron, I like to cook with tongs. That way I'm not using a fork or something to poke holes in the meat. Because anytime you put a hole in the meat, you're going to cause juices to come out of the meat. And you want to keep the juices in the meat. And so I like to use tongs instead because it gives you more control than a spatula would. Say anything? Yeah. Anybody else come on? While we make it super smoky in the house? It'll be a matter of time. I'm gonna go disconnect the smoke detector. So
Yeah. That'd probably be a good idea.
And so you just kind of keep an eye on it here on the edges. You can see once it starts to come up about a third of the way, as far as like the browning process goes, and when it's cooking, it changes color up on the side. You want to flip them once it hits about that third mark. And that usually takes 10 minutes on a 1-inch steak, which these are 1-inch cuts. What? Oh. And so while the steak's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and prep my onion. One of the easy ways to prep an onion is you cut off the top and then cut it in half, starting at the root going down. It makes it just real easy to peel the onion off. So you just grab a corner of the skin layer and just take it straight off.
Tactical Homesteader wants to know, do you live stream often?
This is just the second one. I finally got the technology figured out so I can do it. I do it far more often if I could off my phone, but I don't have near enough qualifications or whatever with YouTube to do it off my phone. So if you're going to dice an onion, you'd cut it once or twice here, depending on the size of your dice you want. You cut it down about 3/4 of the way, but not all the way to the root. You want to leave about a 1/2 inch or so to the root, because the part of the onion that makes you cry, all of that stuff, is back here close to the root. But I'm just doing a slice, so I'm just going like this. Size isn't really too much of a concern, but you can see it here. I'll show you if the lighting is good enough. The part that's going to make you cry is this part right in here. It's usually a little more milky white than the rest of the onion. And so if you avoid that, then you see, there's that milky white. This onion is actually really shallow. It's more like 1/4 of an inch versus a 1/2 inch, which is normally what it is. about a quarter of the way up, a little bit more, and we'll be good to go. And then one thing to be mindful too on pans, especially when you're indoor, you don't want to get them too hot because you can get a lot of smoke, kind of like you saw this thing smoking. And it's no fun having the smoke detector go off while you're just cooking. And so, like, I went and disconnected mine just to be safe because we're talking to you guys. But be mindful that when you put food in a pan, it will cool the pan down as it warms the food up. And so sometimes you got to kind of play with the heat to bring the food back up. I turned mine up on this induction stovetop here. I turned it up when I had it on 4 and I turned it up to 5. But you want to have it, when you initially put your meat on, you want to have it good and hot so that way you get that sear and get that Maillard effect going. Anybody else?
No, but I'm just.
Oh. So just to show you guys, you see the brown that's going on over here. That's the Maillard process right there, where it's caramelizing the sugars. This part of the meat wasn't actually touching because of the fat layer right here. It's not quite done yet. I just wanted to show you what I'm working with here. I need a bottle of water, but thank you. Anything else? No?
Couple of comments.
Okay, what are they saying?
Tactical Homesteader said Bill Wizard.
Uh-huh.
Tactical Homesteader said Diesel Wizard. And WA Pepper said OC is a super chef. Hi, NWA Pepper.
So now, I'm going to go ahead and put these a little early. This one here is like got the perfect sear going on. It's just starting to go dark brown on the fat layer. You can singe the back because you're not going to eat it. And the dogs don't mind it being singed, so we'll do that. But everything else on the meat has got that good brown caramelization going on. And so the next thing you want to do, once you flip them over, is you want to start basting them with butter. And I just put about a half a tablespoon of butter on each one. And just let it sit there and it'll slowly melt and just baste down into the meat. But I need you to keep an eye on. Okay. And then if you were going to do onions, or not onions, I'm going to do onions, but mushrooms, when you flip it like this, you would basically, of course I wouldn't use the flat skillet. If I were going to do mushrooms, I would use one of my deeper ones. But I would separate these apart, that way you've got all the fat and stuff that's coming off the meat, and the butter that's going to run off the sides. You just put the onions, or the, I don't know why I'm hung up on that, put the mushrooms in right in there, and the time it takes the raw mushrooms to cook down is pretty much the exact time it takes for the meat to finish. and that'll bring you out to a medium rare, which is exactly how I like my steak. You like yours medium, don't you?
Usually medium well.
You like yours a little less smooth?
I like mine between medium well and medium rare. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little less smooth.
A little pink in the middle.
Yeah.
Not bloody, but a little pink in the middle. It's not bloody.
So the butter's trying to cool up, so let's spread it a little bit. And then once that butter's melted down, do a little more. Because it comes out to about a tablespoon of butter per 10-ounce steak. That's about what these are. So, don't be afraid to, ask me questions, talk at me, whatever. I feel kind of like a stiff just standing up here. How was you guys' weekend? Productive, I hope.
Practical homesteader wants to know how long you've been cooking.
Well, I've been cooking since I was a kid, but professionally since 2004. Back in 2004, I was 16 years old, started doing like a fast food / pizza, burger, whatever place, whatever you want. It wasn't quite fast food because we did cook to order, but it was at our amusement park back in Oklahoma City. And then from there, I worked there for 3 years, and the second 2 years, in addition to doing the burger stuff, I got moved over to the little Tex-Mex place that we had there, and that kitchen was also part of the catering operation for when the bands would come through. And so it's like every year I was there, I fed Charlie Daniels Band once a year. I got to cater for Toby Keith. I catered for if you know him, Bowling for Soup. Hulk Hogan and his daughter, when they were trying to do her music career that flopped, they came through and I catered for them. Britney Spears' sister. And then like the Eagles and or the Clearwater Revival or whatever it is. I can't think of it. And a few other bands.
Dr. Holmes says, have you been to school?
Not culinary. I did a couple of years of apprenticeships under a couple of different chefs, but I haven't done culinary school. Give me a couple of favorite houses.
He does have his bachelor's degree in world history for anybody who's curious about that.
Yeah, when I was going to college, I wanted to come out and be a history teacher, and I had to do the alternative certification process for Oklahoma, so that meant I had to do like a year's worth of substitute teaching. And in the process of substitute teaching at one of the middle schools in Del City, a fight broke out in the classroom, and one of the kids hit me in the face. I knocked both of them out by slamming their heads together, and that was my last day substitute teaching. I didn't get into trouble for it or anything because they ruled it as self-defense, but I couldn't stress of having to deal with that kind of nonsense.
Right on. kids these days are just, particularly, and when I say kids, I mean like teenagers in the classroom. Like, they're just, I can't imagine the stress of being a teacher,
Yeah,
especially when dealing with teenagers.
Yeah, the young teenagers. It's like
Yeah.
I never had a problem with when I was doing the substitute teaching. I never really had a problem with high school kids, though I did have a girl proposition me for boots.
Oh, wow.
And that was in Midwest City. But no, I never really had a problem with high school kids, and the elementary kids were always the best. But the middle school kids, just dealing with all those ish. I can put a face to the screen name, but I can't put a face to their actual name.
There's your answer. As for me, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. So, no, I only know you for your screen name right now. Oh, it's Michael. Hi. Michael.
Oh, yeah?
Hi.
Alright, so these two are done. And so the next most important step to cooking steak is letting them rest. Most people, even restaurants, are all guilty of this sin. Is they go and put them straight on a plate, cut them, and serve them. You don't do that.
You're supposed to let them rest.
Let them rest.
Yes.
So we've got all these wonderful juices here in the pan. We take that with another tablespoon of butter and just lay out our onions.
Is it bad that I'm not hungry?
These are for me.
Okay.
No, most of them they're part of meal prep for the week because my next operation is on Tuesday.
Yes.
And so I want to be able to just do, because I like doing steak salads and stuff like that.
I know.
And so, well, I'm telling them. I know you know. You live with me. And we'll do wrong side. A little bit more pepper.
Can't zoom
No, you can't zoom. You don't need to. It's fine.
so that people can see what you're doing with the.
But the reason why you want to let the steaks rest is because right now, I don't know if you can you see you down here? Yeah. Can they see the steak?
Yeah, they can see.
Okay. Right now you can see all this moisture on the top of the steak. Letting them rest lets all that moisture come back into the steak. And right now the moisture
downward so they can see better.
Yeah. Okay. It's like right now all the moisture's sitting on the top. Well, so when you cut the steak, the moisture just ends up on the plate and not back in the steak. And you put it back in the steak, as the steak cools down just a little bit from just resting, you know, it's really hot on the outside, a little cool on the inside. So it's still cooking on the inside of the steak.
Yeah.
Even though it's removed from the heat. And so as that moisture returns back in, it's going to further break down protein fibers in the steak and make the steak more tender. And the flavor's in the moisture, and so you want the flavor in the meat.
Yeah.
Not on the plate.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm good.
Now they can see the food and you.
Oh. Were they not able to see it before?
No, I had it adjusted.
Oh, okay.
I just moved the camera back so that they can see
You're fine.
everything.
And so this process, as far as cast iron cooking goes too, doing the onions last, is that's going to pick up a lot of the excess material that's currently cooked onto the cast iron. It'll deglaze it a little bit as the onions sweat.
It smells amazing. And are you going to Louisiana like TJ? Probably.
Don't know yet. I can't answer that question.
we're still discussing that possibility.
Because I'm gonna be, like I said, I'm gonna be having an operation next week on my spine, and so
it depends on how
it'll depend on where I'm at, whether my skill set's going to be needed. The other, I want to go, but like I said, I don't want to say yes and then not be able to, or want to and get my hopes up and get them dashed.
I mean, if you're doing well enough, you could take the van.
Yeah.
And then you could, transport people with you. And
yeah, I mean, there's lots of options.
Yeah.
But with the operation and everything, we're just going to take it one day at a time, just like I did with the first one.
Wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It smells so good.
I wish I had some little button mushrooms to put with this.
I should have thought to get you some at the grocery store.
Nah, it's fine.
I know you.
It's fine. Anything else? No? Nothing coming up yet? No? Well, I do appreciate you guys coming on and chatting with me and watching me cook. We're not quite done yet, so I'm not going to run away just yet, but yeah,
what tips could you share for stovetop steak?
Well, when it comes to cooking steak, it's not just a stovetop thing, it's just a cooking thing in general. When it comes to cooking steaks, it's really, you should
pre-season it before.
Well, yeah, you want to thaw them out.
Yeah, I pre-season before.
Let them come up to room temperature.
Yeah.
Pre-season, salt and pepper is enough. You can do. There's a lot more you can do, but salt and pepper is enough.
If you do the salt like 30 minutes beforehand, it'll absorb into the meat.
Right. And it's like the salt I'm using tonight. Where did I set it? It is the bourbon oak smoked salt that Parakeeto Salt made.
Yeah.
And this stuff is delicious. Like I said, he sent me a care package, and in it he had some like Virginia peanuts, which on their own were really good, but I like salty peanuts. I put some of this, I ground it up in the mortar and pestle, and put some of that on it, and it was just like, oh goodness gracious, it was so good. I couldn't put it down. So I mean, you guys, if you're in Ohio or you just want to, pitch a couple bucks to support the guy getting his business up and going so he can sell outside of Ohio, I strongly encourage you to help that brother out because his products are good. Go show.
Oh, yeah.
Turn this off now. Because you can see here, they're starting to get good, dark, and crispy. And so it's like however long it takes you to cook a steak, that's how long you want to let it rest. And so it took about 12 minutes to cook the steaks. Maybe a little bit longer than that. That's about how long there. So I need a fork.
Are you talking?
Show y'all here. All right, so there is a right and a wrong way to slice a steak. Most people slice their steak straight down like this, okay? That's the wrong way. You want to slice it at you can use your fork as a guide, 45-degree angle a bit about, and just lay your knife on the fork and slice it down, just like that. And I've got a good medium well steak here. And so you can see it's got a good cooked ring around, and it's a dull pink in the middle. That's a medium well right there. But you want to cook it on a diagonal like this because it all has to do with how the protein fibers react to being cut, as well as it also helps keep, because if you're pushing straight down, you're going to mash the juices back out of the meat, and it also just causes the steak to be tougher. Whereas if you cut it like this, like I said, it just does the fibers different. And the easy way to do it is just to use the backside of your fork as a guide. And you just kind of saw through it or anything. You don't want to push. You want to let the weight of the knife really do the work. And so that's pretty much what I've got for you. I'm not doing any special sides or anything. I just wanted some meat. So, anything else before we take off? No? Well, tomorrow we'll be back in the kitchen again. It won't be a live stream tomorrow. We're going to take all day. It's an all-day process. Because we got to make the dough and then proof the dough and, you know, set up the pizzas and cook the pizzas and everything. But we'll do a couple of Sicilian recipes. We'll do a regular red sauce recipe, and we'll do a white slice, a white pizza as well. And so I'll show you all those two. I'll get the filming and cooking done tomorrow. We'll see how long it takes to do the editing. That might be later in the week, but we'll see how it goes with everything else that life's got to throw at us and everything. So thanks for being here. Bless y'all, and we'll see y'all later. Shalom. Load it in.